Hi, girl.
Hello.
Hi, honey. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
See on my
So
other
good to
screen.
see you.
Yes. So good to see
Hi.
you. Sorry, I was just recording a podcast and then I realized like, oh my God, I should go to the bathroom.
No
So,
worry. In there, friend. So listen, I was looking at the schedule. It looks like if we keep with this current schedule, this podcast will release right around late October-ish. So we should
okay.
talk about like Giving Tuesday and end of
Yes.
year and how to leverage social media for end of year giving.
If it's that, then let's talk about the summit. I'm doing it hasn't launched. We launched the page like mid-September, but it's the nonprofit social media summit. And yeah, we could talk about that. I don't have speakers yet, but I could
When is it?
say it's November 13th and 14th.
Oh, perfect. Yeah,
So
yeah.
like
This will be
right before
perfect.
Giving Tuesday year end, like you just said.
Yep.
We can really talk about anything. And let me just double check. Oh no, the URL, I already purchased it. So by this time it'll be nonprofitsocialmediasummit.com.
Okay, cool. Are you doing it yourself or are you doing it in
With Neon One.
Oh, cool,
I've
cool,
done this.
cool.
This is our fifth year. So they have the platform. They change platforms every year. I don't know what platform it is this year. Like last year was Eventbrite. Now it's something else. I don't even know. And they just basically hope they do all the tech stuff on
Mm,
the tech side. Um, they are the only sponsor, so they give me a budget so I can pay speakers, and we purchase some like Facebook ads
cool.
and things like that. So it's not like a huge money maker. I mean, if I make any money from if there's like VIP
Hmm.
sales, and I get the list and all of that. So that's
Cool.
really helpful. But yeah, we've done it for the past 5 years now. We did one person in 2019 in Boston. Then of course 2020 we didn't do anything, but then 2021, 22. I know we were thinking like, what year is it? And it's the fifth year. It's crazy.
I know, I know. One big thing I want to talk to you is like
Yes.
social media and how it's different. Like
And how
it
it's
has
completely horrible right now.
how it's completely freaking horrible. How
Yeah.
I would literally
Oh, I
rather
won't
like
sugarcoat it. Yeah. How we all hate it and we don't want to be on it, but we have to be.
I know. Well, the only one I'm on is LinkedIn, and like
Mhm.
literally even that I'm just like, what the fuck? I can't. Like,
It seems all very the same. And I feel like, yeah, I don't know.
wait, save it,
LinkedIn.
save it,
Okay, we'll save
save
it. We'll
it,
save it.
save the
I'll
good
think
stuff.
of
All right.
something to say about it.
Okay. Mhm. Hey, podcast listener, Freya Wong with you once again with Nonprofit Lowdown. Today, I am so glad to welcome my friend, one of my favorite guests ever, the one, the only, Julia Campbell, social media maven. And today we are going to talk about social media, why the state of it is not great. I think it kind of sucks. How to leverage it for year-end giving. Julia, welcome to the show.
Yay! Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for having me back on. Just like such a breath of fresh air, such a joy to be here.
Oh, you're such a sweetheart. So, wait, before we jump into it, because I know we can talk about all of the things,
Hmm.
for people who don't know you, which seems crazy because who doesn't know Julia Campbell? Talk to us a little bit about your journey and how you became the social media maven that you are today.
Well, I started my nonprofit journey pretty young. I will not go into all of, I mean, the volunteering that I did in high school and college. I ran a teen program in Boston for a while. I served in the Peace Corps in Senegal and West Africa, worked with a lot of NGOs and nonprofits there on a variety of projects, and then started out really my career as a director of development, then of course, director of development and marketing, and then eventually maybe director of development and marketing and volunteer coordinator and all the things and all the hats. And I'm sure a lot of your listeners can relate to that and having all of the sort of different things on your plate. But when I started my business, what I saw a lot of organizations really struggling to find their voice and convey their message in the digital realm. They were used to direct mail and used to events. They were used to calling donors and having coffees, but they were struggling with their website, their email marketing, and their social media. And so that's really where I sort of staked my flag. And right now, I'm a speaker, an author. I have workshops and online courses, and I help my clients find their digital voice and really establish their presence, get more visibility, and drive more donations online.
That's very succinct. Thank you, Julia. And actually, as you're talking, I was like, I was one of those nonprofit people, especially with social media, because I was like, this is just like an interruption of my day. Like, I don't understand what you want me to do. I didn't understand the role of social media in the larger framework of how this related to fundraising. And so I came of age during like the ice bucket challenge. I'm like, oh, so you just use it to like raise money, right?
Yes.
So how should we be thinking about social media with respect to building an online brand and working in concert with an overall strategy?
What you just said is so important and so poignant, because I feel like that was, for a lot of us, our very first experience with the power of social media for raising money. But it was sort of lightning in a bottle. And what's interesting about the Ice Bucket Challenge, it just had its 10-year anniversary. That was started by Peter Frates, who's actually from my hometown of Beverly, Massachusetts, and his mom, Nancy Frates. And what Pete wanted to do, he just wanted to raise awareness. He wanted to say, this is what it's like to get the diagnosis of ALS. It's like having a bucket of ice water poured on you and you're in shock and you don't know what to do. And so for him, it was really just more about, this is what I'm living with. I want to raise awareness around this disease, and I want to show people and tell people that there are people in all of our communities like living with this disease. What's interesting is he was a really famous baseball player at Boston College. And then what happened was the Boston Red Sox picked it up. And then that's when it kind of went viral. So I have a couple of issues. The only issue I have with that is that now nonprofits think that that's sort of the gold standard. They think, oh, we can just go viral. Like, let's just go viral, like the Ice Bucket Challenge, and have 20 million people pouring ice water on their heads and, get it to really spur this kind of movement. The issue is now, what we know is that Meta and a bunch of these other companies sold us sort of a bill of goods, right? They are telling us we need to create a Facebook page, we need to create a LinkedIn page, maybe Instagram, maybe an X account, formerly Twitter, a YouTube channel, and basically do nothing, and the donations are going to roll in. I mean, this is what we had been told about 10 years ago, or what we thought, what was a misconception. And the issue is, it's like you said, Ria, if it's not baked into your overall strategy and your overall messaging and your overall community building philosophy, it's not going to work. And the changes that I'm seeing right now is that, I mean, it was never really a broadcast mechanism, but I think you could use it to broadcast messages. You could use it to promote, solely to promote things. But right now, no, you cannot do that. That's not going to cut through any of the clutter. People are using it to explore things that they care about and find out about causes and influencers and celebrities and brands. And they're using it for their own purposes. They're using it to help themselves to find things that they're interested in and to express themselves. So if nonprofits continue to use it in this broadcast sort of billboard way, it's really not going to serve us well. We need to sort of adapt some new strategies and think about, how can we use it to build thought leadership is a great one. How can we use it to establish credibility? How can we use it to become a go-to resource in the community? How can we use it to become sort of an indispensable force for good around the cause that we're working on? So it's got to be less about our agenda and more about, what does our audience want to see?
So so many things that you said that are so good. I would just want to unpack. So,
Sure.
Julia, as you were talking, I remember literally sitting at my boardroom table after the ice bucket chopped and having a board party with me
Uh,
square in the face. Like, so why don't we just do a viral video? And I was like,
why don't I just win the lottery?
yeah, exactly.
I
Why
mean,
don't
wouldn't it
I?
be so easy? Why can't I just like find $1 million on the street,
Yeah, why can't
like
I just
Publishers
become Beyonce?
Clearinghouse?
Like we might, why not? Right. So I think, yes, understanding like you cannot plan virality because if you could, then I wouldn't be sitting at this table with you all. I would be making $1 bajillion somewhere
Mm-hmm.
else. The second thing that I think is really interesting around what you said, I mean, many things, but this idea of like not using social as a billboard, rather as an engagement tool, as a way to start conversation, as a way to educate, as a way to inspire, as a way to build community. And I feel like a lot of nonprofits, because A, they usually don't have a marketing strategy, but B, also feel very pressed for time, keep
Mm-hmm.
pushing the social media button like it's a freaking jackpot lever. It's like, just give me the
Uh-huh.
money, give me the money, give me the money.
Yeah.
And they're not getting any engagement. They're not building community. So, and the third thing I wanted to say, and I'd love for you to talk about this, is like it can be really hard to be on social for many reasons, which we'll get into. But
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I was thinking about is that we're always playing the comparison game, right? We're looking at that nonprofit that does that, so maybe we should do that. And that nonprofit seems like they're making a lot of money doing that, so we should do that. And so, how do we get out of the comparison game and stop paying attention to all the shiny objects?
Wow. Okay. So there's a lot to unpack there. So what you said is absolutely true. We are looking at it as something that owes us something, or we're looking at social media as this lever that we can pull and donations or engagement or likes will roll in. And we really have to start being a little more cynical at the end of the day. And I am like the least cynical person ever. I am Gen X, but I like to believe in the goodness in all people. But unfortunately, these platforms, they're owned by completely, narcissistic billionaires who answer to their shareholders. They don't even answer to the users. Okay. Their number one priority in their life is their shareholders. Can we make more money for our shareholders? It's not how can we make the user experience better? That's probably number two. And then maybe like number 90 million is how can we help nonprofits raise money? It really is not, that's not what the platforms were designed for, and it's not their strength. What their strength is, of course, engaging friends and family, but it's also helping people express themselves, and it's helping people learn new things and maybe get some news, some articles, understand the world around them and connect with other people. So they were never meant to be these promotional tools like an email or like our website or like a blog or like a billboard is what I always say. It's not, never was supposed to be this way that we were sort of taught how to use these tools. So pushing that social media button, the time constraints is another whole piece of the puzzle. You really have to look holistically at your time and what it's worth and what these channels might be getting you or not getting you. So you have to evaluate which platforms you should be spending time on and really measuring and analyzing your success. Now, an experiment that I always talk about, the case study is candid.org. So they were, GuideStar merged with the Foundation Center, became candid.org. They are an academic research, institute. They are thought leaders. They don't have clients. They don't have kittens and puppies and children and environment and anything else. They literally are a research facility providing resources for nonprofits, and they're nonprofit themselves. They wanted to use short form video, but like you said, Ria, they weren't sure what's the time commitment, how much time is it going to take? Like, we're so strapped for time. So they just did a very small experiment. They said, we're going to create, and I should have the numbers, but the numbers, are on their blog. They wrote a whole blog post about their experiment. They're going to create a certain number of videos in 3 months. And the caveat is it's not going to take up more than 20% of staff time. So it was what I would recommend for anyone listening to this that thinks they can't do Instagram Reels or they can't do YouTube Shorts or they can't do things on LinkedIn is to create this very focused experiment. I'm going to post on LinkedIn 3 times a month for 3 months, and then I'm going to measure and analyze and see what happens. We have to look at it like an experiment. I mean, you better believe that we all know our open rate. We know our donor retention rate, I hope. We know our click-through rate on our website. There are certain metrics that we have. Like we know we send a direct mail appeal and it's going to get this many donations, and we know it's a success, or it's, can be improved upon. But why don't we do the same with social media and digital marketing? So I think we need to be more strategic and prioritize better. And that's how we'll avoid the shiny tool syndrome, because we might try something, and you do have to try it for a little while to see if it works. But it's almost like any new diet, like keto, or, what it, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't believe in any of those diets, but I mean, for me, but I like to try like weightlifting, or maybe try spin, or try yoga. Right. It's like anything else. You really have to give it a try. You can't just say, oh, I did one yoga class and it was a fail. Like you can't just say, oh, I posted on LinkedIn for twice and it didn't work. And I think that's what happens.
So let's talk about, because I know we talked about this last time we spoke, but I think it's just worth reiterating. How do we measure success? Because I think there are vanity metrics, right? Like how many likes do I have? How many followers do I have? How many shares do I have? But is that really the goal of it? Because I think it was you, I know it was you, who said the goal of social media is to encourage people to take an off-platform action. Like whether that means volunteer, sign a petition, sign up for your email list, whatever it is. And so how should we be thinking about measuring whether or not our social media usage was a success or not a success?
That's such a great question. There are several ways to look at this. One is really going back to your goals and what you're trying to accomplish. And honestly, you might have different goals for different times of year, and you might have different goals for different platforms, and you might have different goals for different campaigns that you're running. But I really believe that, especially right now in the climate that we're in, where social and political issues and cause areas are being demoted in the algorithm, where it's getting increasingly more difficult to get reach and engagement if you're not paying for it, I think we need to be encouraging people to take an action with us off platform, like you said. So I talk a lot about encouraging people to sign up for your email list and what specific strategies. You can't just say, sign up for our email list. How can you make it more enticing? What can you offer on your email list that might be a little more enticing? Or signing up for an advocacy action, downloading a white paper on your website, taking a volunteer action, signing up for text alerts. I think that there's sort of a myriad of ways that we can get people off social media, because we can't take them with us. I mean, I think of Twitter when Elon Musk purchased Twitter, and I stayed on for a year, and then it became X, and then I had to leave. I had 19,000 followers. Okay, first of all, you can't take those followers with you. I had built such a community there. But what it made me understand was that's not my community. I don't own that community. I own my email list. Of course, if you build your email list ethically and correctly, and you're not purchasing email lists, and you're not signing people up that don't want to be signed up. But the other thing I would say is, and it goes to something that you spoke to, I didn't address the competition question. You're not for everybody. Like, everyone listening to this needs to understand that your message is really for a very specific group of people. It's not for the masses, because nothing is for the masses other than maybe Taylor Swift. I don't know. Like, there's really nothing that everybody absolutely without fail likes. Okay. And if it is, it's like vanilla ice cream, and you don't want to be vanilla ice cream. So how can you use these tools to differentiate yourself and stand out? What is your unique stance on something? What's your unique solution? Who's your founder? Who's your executive director? Who's your development director? Like, what do they stand for? Like, what do you stand for? What are you trying to put out in the world? That's what's really going to help differentiate you. And in terms of success, I would measure how many people are going to your website from social media, how many conversions you're getting, how many people are signing up for email. Sure, if you are an organization like Invisible People, they are a media organization. They want to raise awareness around people experiencing homelessness. of a metric for them is YouTube views and how long a video was watched on YouTube and number of comments on YouTube, because that is their goal, that is their mission, that is the vision that they have. They want to change the conversation around this particular issue. But if you are an organization, you're really just looking to sort of drive your membership, drive donations, be looking at how social media is sort of helping influence that, and always be measuring those numbers and kind of looking at the bigger picture of how it fits into all of the other marketing and fundraising you're doing.
Yeah, and I just want to double click on being focused because you can
Mm-hmm.
very easily get into like buying all the shiny new tools. Like
Yes.
I got into buying like I must need all of these different analytics for my LinkedIn because LinkedIn is my major platform. And
Mm-hmm.
the other thing is I wanted to underscore here for everybody, you don't need to be on all of the things.
No, you
I am
shouldn't be. You shouldn't be.
I'm not on certainly not on X. I very minimally am on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Facebook page, but I don't really do much with it other than to run ads. And then I'm on LinkedIn, and that's it.
Yep.
And like LinkedIn, my podcast, and my newsletter. Those are like my three channels that if you want to know
Mm-hmm.
what's up with me, find me there.
That's really a great explanation. And for me, I I take a lot of qualitative evidence and not necessarily quantitative. So people will message me and say, "Oh, I saw your LinkedIn post," or I had someone I just did a speaking engagement in Wisconsin, and someone came up to me and she said, "I saw your LinkedIn post about overhead and the overhead myth, and I thought it was fantastic, and we need more people speaking up about it in our sector." I take all of that into account because it's so hard sometimes to know if people are paying attention. But emails that I get and calls that I get and talking to people at conferences, I know that I'm reaching people. And, it's not necessarily something that's going to go viral, but that's not, like you said, the point of it. It's not really the point of what I'm doing. But it's that building that trust and credibility, that's a huge goal for me. And when I get that feedback, even if it's not 300 people telling me, if it's like 30 people telling me, to me, that's a win. So we all have to determine what success looks like for us and measure it against what we're trying to achieve long term.
And can I just say, I think especially with LinkedIn, again, I'm not as
Mm-hmm.
conversant with the other platforms, but I think there are a ton of lurkers out there.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I meet people all the time who are like, "Oh, I see all your stuff on LinkedIn." I'm like, "Really? Because you've never commented, you've
Never
never liked,
commented, comment
like
and
I don't
share
know
if
who
you like
you
something.
are."
I
I know.
know.
And so cool that like you're reading my stuff, but I have no feedback. I have no idea that you're doing that. So
Yeah.
yes, if you like something, like it, share it,
Mm-hmm.
comment. So that's
Yep.
the thing.
It
One thing.
makes so much difference. It really does to the algorithm
Yep.
and then to getting it exposed to newer audiences. Like it really, really does help. I know there are so many lurkers because they think, I think the majority of people look at social media, it's for them. It's for their enjoyment, their entertainment, their
Right.
information. They're not seeing it in that two-way street. There are a lot of lurkers out there. We love you, lurkers. We just wish you would talk to us more.
Yeah. Otherwise, it just feels like us throwing tennis balls into a vacuum cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about why social media feels so awful right now. This is a
Yeah.
good transition because I feel like, I don't know, I would say maybe in like the last year or so, I just have found it to be so draining and so exhausting. And I don't
Yes.
know why. I'm also thinking about the move from the attention economy to the intimacy economy. Like it just
Mm.
feels like every time I go on social, like everyone's just like screaming for attention. And I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
I can't. So why does it feel so awful? And is it is it just that I'm more sensitive in the last year, or has something actually changed in the last year?
The algorithms have dramatically changed, at least for Meta, and they've publicly said it, or I don't know if it was publicly disclosed, but some memo got leaked that the algorithms have completely changed and they're focused on what's getting the most engagement and the most conversation. And what's getting the most engagement and the most conversation are things that make people angry. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
always it. Sometimes there'll be a great puppy video. People will post, "Oh, that's cute," or something like that. But it's going to be that sort of provocative factor of what's getting people riled up. And
Yeah.
I think that's why we're seeing so much more of it. The other thing I've been seeing is just this. I just think, I don't know if it's human behavior. I don't know if it's the way we're interacting with each other, but I would post something. So I used to post a lot of political stuff on Facebook. And then I realized I'm not going to change anybody's mind. Like, I already have my friends who believe what I believe, and I have people that don't believe what I believe. And I'm really not like changing anyone's mind with this content that I'm posting. I'm either posting into the void or the bubble, or I'm just enraging people for no reason. Because if you post on like Facebook, LinkedIn is a little bit different though. LinkedIn is a little bit more happy or professional. But if you post on X or Twitter, you post on Instagram, you post on Facebook, you say, I like oranges. People are always going to come after you with like, why do you hate apples? And I can't speak to like why that's happening, but I think it's because the algorithm responds to that quick burst of engagement. And, it's all generated by AI. Like, the content moderation on these sites is next to none. Like, there are no humans moderating this content. I mean, X, I know, fired almost all of their content moderators. I'm not sure about Meta. LinkedIn is a little bit better from what I can see. It's just a different kind of, platform. And then of course, YouTube is really a search engine. I don't really see YouTube as like a social media site. TikTok, of course, the algorithm is designed so you see new things. You constantly see new things, which I kind of like in some ways, because you get exposed to a lot of different voices and brands and people and influencers. But to try to get found when you're not being as provocative or you're not being topical and timely, I think that's the really big challenge. But as to why social media, it's because I think it's becoming that the lowest common denominator kind of stuff is just floating up to the top. With X, we know why it's terrible. At least with X, we can. Elon Musk purchased it, has absolutely no morals or scruples. Fired all the content moderators and basically said it's a free for all and you can do whatever you want. So that's really why X is now like pretty unsafe for a lot of people. With Meta, it's just a lot of investment in AI. I think a lot of investment in this metaverse, and they're cutting down the investments that they had made in the news feed and in groups and in other things. And I know that Meta has fired and let go almost their entire social impact team. So they're just not making an investment in how can we make the platform better. It's just become this race to the bottom or race to the top to see how much money you can make. So
yeah,
I know it seems pretty dark on a lot of these places. I've
So
seen happy places. Instagram to me is a happy place, but I think I've curated my feed.
Yeah, that's right. You've like unfollowed all the
I
people that
literally,
make
it's
you
all
crazy.
Olympics right now. And I hope it will be Olympics for the next 6 months. I don't care if the Olympics are over, because I think I've just like, it's what I like. And so I like it. I comment on it. I share it. And Instagram has started to see, okay, she doesn't like the dark. Not that I don't like political stuff, but the darkness, I think, has left my feed. So I've been having a lot of fun on Instagram lately, but it changes every 6 months. Everything changes.
You've eradicated the Voldemort from your feed.
Yeah.
Let me ask, I want to ask a brief question about AI. I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole because we'll be there forever, but I definitely want to talk about social media and end of year giving, because by the time this episode posts, we'll be in Q4, hot time of year for giving. So make sure we'll get to that. But before we get to that, let's talk about the use of AI and social media content creation, because I just feel like AI helps us just to do crappy things faster. And I'm just wondering from your perspective, like, I don't know, are you just seeing more garbage produced at higher scale? Like, how is AI just making this whole stew worse?
More garbage at larger scale. So Nathan Chappelle was speaking at, I want to say, Planet Philanthropy, and he said by 2025, almost 90% of the content on the internet is going to be generated by AI. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm just leaving. I want to leave. Oh my God, I don't know where I'm going, but I want to leave. The only way that we're going to stand out, and this is what I tell my clients, is to put our fingerprints on everything. So you can write a webinar description with ChatGPT. That's fine. It's a webinar description, whatever. But if you're going to write a LinkedIn post, if you're going to write a Facebook post, if you're going to write an email, it's one thing to draft it using AI tools or do research or, spell check or use grammar tools. It's another thing to have the AI completely write in your voice, because the really only way we're going to stand out at this point and reach our followers and our fans and the people that care about what we do is to have that distinct personality and authenticity and stamp on things.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, what I'm telling my clients is you're using these tools to save time, to do research, to, you could do a great research project and put in all your subject lines, your email subject lines from the last year, and all of your data and open rates, and figure out which subject line works best. Like, that's a great use of AI, I think. Or say, okay, here's 50 annual reports, synthesize it and pull out the 10 bullet points and then write an email around it. But if we are using it in the way that I see it being used constantly to just sort of write stuff for us, then everything is going to sound the same. Everything is starting to sound the same. And you can tell when things are written with ChatGPT. I can tell in an actual heartbeat when things are written with it, or someone's not even bothered to personalize it or change it.
Yeah.
So the other piece of this that I would say that relates to social media is the storytelling. AI doesn't know your stories. AI can never understand what goes on the ground in your organization, in the trenches, every day in your programs, what you're experiencing. So sharing genuine stories, whether it's your story, your donor story, your volunteer story, your client story, sharing stories is the way that we're going to start really standing out, because every email appeal is going to start to sound alike. Every, LinkedIn post, every Facebook post, all of it's going to really start looking generic. But if we put our authentic stamp on things, and if we're not afraid to get a little bit vulnerable, because AI it's not vulnerable. It's not going to tell you its own personal experience of, what is life experience. Those are the things, like, what makes us human. And that's what's really going to translate well on social media, because there is going to be so much of this generic, just whatever templated crap, basically. So we need to focus on what makes us human and then insert that in our content as much as possible.
It's funny that you say that. Not that I'm gonna throw my nephew under the bus. I'm reading his college application essays, and I can tell like 70% of it was written by ChatGPT. And I'm like, if I can tell, I can assure you the college admissions officers will also be able to tell.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is you put that essay in. What I would do is write an essay or write some bullet points. I'd put it in ChatGPT and say, hey, what are some questions you would have for me as a college admissions officer based on this draft? And then pull out the questions and then be like, okay, what are some places I can go deeper? What are some anecdotes I could add in? That's really how I like to use the tools, is more like, make me think in a different way and ask me questions based on based on the entire internet. What are some of the most popular college admission questions being asked right now, and how could I respond to those? So I completely understand what you're saying. I feel like a 15-year-old. Like, I get it. I think the danger is everything becoming homogenized, but then the people that are going to stand out are the people that will insert that humanity and that authenticity into their work.
As you were saying authenticity, I was just thinking about the Australian breakdancer.
Oh my God. Talk about the most authentic person ever. Yeah. I love her. Oh my God. I love her so much.
I mean, here's the thing about her. I was like, okay, so she lost the Olympics, but she won social media.
Oh, and she
won the internet. So like, who really
doesn't care and doing her thing? She's a PhD in breakdancing. She's amazing. I couldn't love that more, because it really does totally, that's what's going to break the internet.
Yeah.
You could have an AI video of a white woman breakdancing, and it would not be as interesting as a real person doing that. I mean,
I know.
Real people doing amazing, vulnerable things, that's always going to beat everything at the
Well,
end.
I've also really worked that kangaroo move into my repertoire. So watch out,
Oh,
world. That
did you see Rachel Dratch doing it on Jimmy Fallon?
no,
Should
but
look it
I'm
up.
I'm gonna look it up
Rachel
right now.
Dratch, Jimmy Fallon, Australian breakdancer. It's amazing.
But
It's
like,
memes. If you become a meme, then you know you're successful.
I mean, that's it. Like you have won the internet. Good job.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about end of year because I know people are out of their
Mm-hmm.
minds right now trying to
Mm-hmm.
raise money. How should we be thinking about social media vis-a-vis our end of year campaign in a way that also will not make us totally crazy?
I really believe you should not go silent on your donors leading up to year end. So what I see a lot of the time, I see a lot of my clients thinking, oh, well, we're going to be doing Giving Tuesday. We're going to be doing year end. So we should probably be quiet right now. No, 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 no. That's not how social media works. You can't, it's also, I keep comparing it to dieting and exercise, but it's literally not like a fast. You can't fast and then all of a sudden like get healthy again. You really have to be putting in the time, putting in the miles, putting in the minutes. So have a strategy right now for how you're sort of showcasing both the need, but also maybe your accomplishments. Where I also think people get wrong on social media at year end is they just showcase the accomplishments. They're like, we did awesome stuff this year. Here's all the great stuff we did. But they don't adequately highlight the fact that there's still a need. There is a
Mm,
need. We could even do more. We could serve more kids. We could save more cats. We could save more wetlands. We could do more if we had your support. So
mm,
constantly being in people's minds, placing that seed where they're thinking, okay, this group is great and they have fantastic results and we can see the stories that they're showcasing. Maybe doing a little bit more video right now because video is going to help you sort of pop to the top of the feed. What I always recommend doing is talking a lot about what's going on right now. So
mm,
there's so much focus on creating this evergreen content that could be used forever. Well, what's going to really work and grab attention is, hey, I'm working in human trafficking. This is what we are seeing, and this is what's going on. And this is the 5 things you need to know in the next month. And here's what we're going to do. If you donate $5 a month, like here's what we can accomplish. So just being honest, like talking to people like they're people
mm-hmm.
rather, I talk a lot about creating content and content creation. And that's just a buzzword for let's just all be real on the internet. Like, let's just talk to people and explain we've done great things this year. Guess what else we can do? Here's what we're going to do. Here's our vision for 2025, and inviting people to be partners rather than just sort of like talking to them like they're ATM
Yeah.
transactions.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other piece about video that I really want to underscore here too is like, don't be afraid of video. I think people think that it has
Yeah.
to be like super professional
No.
and the lighting, like, yes, have nice lighting, but I think people are really responding to authenticity on the internet. Like, we all have phones in our pockets. Like, shoot a little video with
Yeah.
your face. Like, people would rather
Walk your
that.
dog. I'm telling you, walk your dog and take a video and talk about the problem and then introduce your dog. That's going to go as viral as it can go. Those are the most popular videos all my clients do. The executive director in their backyard. If you're comfortable showing your family, that's one thing. You should be comfortable showing your dog or your cat or your ferret. I had one executive director share their ferret, and they were just like hanging out with their ferret, and they were like, "This is what's going on. We'd love for you to join us." And it's just so real.
Hmm.
The video makes it human for people, and they understand that there are people working at the organization, and they understand that there are real issues being solved by real people. So I agree with you. I think video, just take a short 10, 15, 30-second video with your phone. There's all sorts of editing software you can use, of course, if you want to edit it. There's CapCut, there's Animoto, there's everything on your phone. But I always find my best reels are just me walking, maybe on the beach or walking and with the captions on. And that tends to work really, really well. Like, it doesn't, like you
Yeah.
said, you don't need to overthink it or pay a lot of money for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think frequency trumps depth, right? Like people are looking for quick bites of things that they can consume, not like your 50-page annual report. Like no
Right. I
one's
think it
reading that.
depends on social media. Certainly, you can go longer on YouTube though. Like YouTube is designed for longer videos. You can go longer on your website and you can go longer, maybe in an email newsletter. Like it depends on your audience. But you're right, on Reels or TikTok or something like that, it's more, here's one bite-sized piece of information that you can use. And sure, if you want to dive deeper, our website is here. We have all the stuff on our website. We have all the stuff in our research. But social media is really that place for people that don't know you, that don't maybe trust you, or maybe know a little bit about what you do, but want to understand more.
Well, and the other thing I just want to say here too, Julie, is also don't be afraid to lean into things like humor because
Yes.
I like we go to social for entertainment, right? Like on my TikTok feed, it's like comedians. And I recently, I think old, but I just saw it with this like spoof video, Africans for Norway, and it's about like it's called Radiate, and they're like, it's very cold in Norway, so we're gonna
Yes.
send them our radiators,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I remember that because it made me laugh. And so I think we also like have to not be afraid to be a little
Oh,
light about it, like bring some
Isabel's, my
levity.
daughter's camp, which is a nonprofit, did a whole thing with Brat, the whole thing with Charlie XCX. It's a meme right now. If you don't know it, just Google Brat Summer and you will immediately find it. But it's like a font, it's like a color.
Did you ever
It's,
read the
yeah.
article about how they got to that color? It's fascinating.
No. Okay,
It's
so if we're talking about Brett, the whole thing is I'm so Julia, right? She
yeah.
sings a whole song about how she's so Julia. So everyone's been sending that to me. I actually have the shirt in lime green that says I'm so Julia, but I should have worn it for this. But no, I don't know the color. I
Yeah, no,
want to
it's
learn
funny.
about it.
If you go to the New York Times, it's like a whole piece with the designer because he's like, if you look at it, it looks like it's just done on like, some fifth grader did it. But
Yes.
actually, like there's a whole process behind it, like multiple drafts of like the exact color. Anyway, it's fascinating.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think things like that, it's a flash in the pan, but I saw some libraries doing it. Obviously, the Kamala Harris campaign did it, like adopting things that are like that, having that kind of tongue in cheek sense of humor, like this is cheeky, this is funny. Not everybody's going to know. Like my mom is not going to know what that means, but it's fine. Maybe she does. I don't know. But I think being willing to take risks, like you
Yep.
just said, being willing to be a little bit, vulnerable. It's not going to offend people, right? It's just going to be something that someone might notice and think is fun. And then also it's going to play that part of humanizing and making you more relevant. And like you
Right.
said, we go to social media for entertainment. We really do.
Yeah. When I
We
think
go
the
for
other,
news and articles too. I go a lot of the time for news. And that's
right.
where
Well,
nonprofits can fit in too.
yeah. I mean, I think what I've seen is that nonprofits tend to lean very heavily on like the serious stuff because I think that,
Yes.
that the work is serious, right? Like we are saving whales and
Mm-hmm.
cats and kids and wetlands and whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
we don't have to take ourselves so seriously.
Yes, exactly. The cause is serious, but we ourselves as people, we do not have to take so seriously.
So, Julia, as we wrap up, I know you have an exciting thing in the works. Tell us a little bit about that and how folks can learn more about that.
Yeah, so I'm partnering with my friends at Neon One. We're holding the nonprofit social media summit, fifth year in a row, all virtual and completely free. So if you go to nonprofitsocialmediasummit.com, you can sign up, find all the speakers and all the sessions. And my goal with this summit, especially this year, and actually, Rhea, you've given me a lot of things to think about, but this year, I want to sort of radiate positivity. I want to figure out
Love it.
what are the positive aspects of social media that we can elevate and amplify, and how can we incorporate that into the work that we're doing. So for me, it's really demystifying social, making it accessible, giving you actionable tips and tricks that you can take. And it's November 13th and 14th, so perfect for Giving Tuesday and year-end campaigns.
Well, and post-election hangovers.
Post-election hangovers, which I know I was talking to Neon One and I said I'll either be in my bed or
Yeah,
I'll be
right.
popping champagne. I'll be doing it from my hospital room, or I will be popping champagne. Either
Right.
one.
I'm
But
either going to be like living my best life or making plans to leave the country. So
yeah,
either one.
yeah. Calling
But you know what?
my Toronto relatives. So
Yeah,
we'll
seriously.
see. I mean, we're hoping that it's the popping champagne.
Well, I think what would be interesting. So here's an idea for you, Julia. Take it for what you will, but
Yes.
I think it'd be really interesting as part of the summit to deconstruct the social media strategies of both campaigns and what worked and what
Oh,
didn't
that's
and why.
interesting. That's really
Isn't
interesting.
that fascinating? I would tune in for that. Like, help me break it down. I need to understand. Because even
Ah.
with things I don't necessarily agree with, like you can argue that
Oh
they've
yeah,
been
there's some
effective at riling up the
fascinating
base.
marketing going on. Exactly on both sides. I agree with you. I think that's really interesting. I I want to think about that because what I want to think about is if there's not time to do that at the summit, I want
Mm,
to do that on my podcast for sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that's so interesting. It's a great
Yeah,
idea.
it's super interesting from like a social media and like messaging and marketing perspective and like how they're thinking about who they're talking to, how they're talking to them, what action they're trying to convince them, how they're building. Because right now it's all identity politics, right? Like
Yes.
the Trump campaign
Yep.
in particular, it's not policy based other than like being a terrible person.
Mm-hmm.
It's about like how do I
Get
capitalize on
people
this,
angry.
yeah, this sense of like justice and identity that I have as being like downtrodden in some way. And whether it's right or wrong, it's like clearly very effective. So anyway, it'd be interesting to get a
Yeah,
break.
and the other thing I want to say is that the second Kamala announced that she was running, I was getting Instagram ads. Like the actual, I was like reading about it and then went to Instagram and was getting an ad.
Yep.
Someone knows something. And then the Tim Walz, when she announced that he was going to be her running mate, also getting ads. I feel like it was very spot on and very timely. Some people might think that's very like Big Brother and they might get scared of it. I looked at it from a digital marketing perspective and I was like, I'm thinking about this. I'm Googling articles about this and I'm being served ads about it. Like that is brilliant, brilliant strategy. So
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
that happen? How to break it down? Like how did both campaigns figure out when to run ads? And I mean,
Yep.
that is
Yeah.
really smart.
Fascinating. All right, friend. I could talk to you for hours, but
I
alas,
know.
we have to go. So I don't know when I'll see you in person again, but I will certainly sign up for the summit and I
Yes.
will see you there. And if I can be of any help, please let me know.
Oh, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure, Ria. This is great.
Same here, my friend. And I think I'm supposed to be on your pod at some point.
Yes, I think we have that scheduled
Okay, fantastic.
for future months. So yeah, stay tuned, everyone. Then I'll be
Okay.
grilling Ria on all things fundraising and why we're disrupting fundraising, which was your latest newsletter, which I loved.
But the thing is, I feel like we're not disrupting. If anything, we're going back to the original ways of
Right.
like, this is a community-based, like all
Yeah.
hands on deck,
Relations.
helping
Yeah.
your neighbor relational fundraising model that I think we've forgotten in this like, high
Yep.
scale, high pressure sales tactic way that like feels really gross and transactional. And now I'm like, no, we're just getting back to the basics of like, how can we be friends?
Hmm. Absolutely. I love that. I agree with it totally.
So everything old is new again, I guess. What's
Everything
that
comes around.
phrase? It's old wine, new bottles.
Oh,
Anyway,
I don't know, but
yeah,
I like the wine analogy.
I'm gonna pour it out for everybody. All right, friend. Good to see you. Enjoy the rest
All
of your
right.
day. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Ooh, thanks, friend.
Will
That was
you
awesome.
be at Ray's? You going to Ray's in
Mm,
Nashville? It's like the one cause thing. Okay.
no, I'm luckily not doing any more conferences until October and December. I'm like conferenced out. So tired.
I think that's my last one. I don't think
Oh,
I'm doing any.
when is Ray's?
September 9th and 10th in Nashville.
Oh, that sounds fun. No,
It'll be
I'm
fun.
gonna be not gonna be there, but I'm gonna be at the Philanthropy for the People
Hmm.
in Oregon in October, and then I'm at the New Jersey nonprofit, whatever, early December.
Oh, like
So
Philanthropy Day.
yeah, I don't know what it is. I was like, they're like, do you want a keynote? We'll pay you money. I was like, cool. I can take an Uber there. Fantastic. I'm there.
Oh, awesome. That's fantastic. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
great.
But I've
New
been
Jersey is
like
not
on
too
the
far from
road.
me. I love the nonprofit associations because they actually pay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I don't do keynotes that don't pay. actually. I'm like,
Oh, I would not do a keynote that didn't pay. I don't think I would do a breakout session if I had to travel. I might
no,
do it if it was in Boston.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, certainly I don't think I would. I don't think I would do that.
I
But
mean,
I
I'm in
need
the
to,
Beyonce phase of my life. I'm like, no, you must pay me for me to show up.
yeah, you have to. It's so, it's just so obnoxious, like what some conferences expect and expect you to do. It's really pretty crazy. It's like, I'm not building my business. I have established business. Okay. Like I can,
Yeah. I'm not, this is not a marketing opportunity for me. Thank you.
I know exactly. They're like, oh, it's great exposure. Oh, fundraising day, New York.
Oh,
They, have you spoken at their conferences?
I have not.
Oh,
No.
so they emailed me and they said, we really want you to come speak. And I said, oh, here, great. Here's my brochure. Like, what do you want me to talk about? And they said, oh, we don't pay our speakers. And in fact, you get a reduced registration rate.
Yes, they have talked to me about that. And I was like, no, thank you.
Oh, I think I was in a very bad mood that day. I don't know what's going on. I wrote them back and I said, look, I'm not one to burn bridges, but honest to God, it is absolutely offensive that you ask speakers to travel to your conference and to provide their expertise for free and you charge them a registration rate. I
Yes.
said, I think it's unethical. I think I don't even know. I launched into a whole tirade. I never heard
No,
back.
I think
I'll
that's
never hear from them again, but I don't care. It's like, are you out of your mind? Like New York's
Yeah.
not that far for me,
No, but
but
still,
I no,
yeah,
absolutely no.
yeah, yeah. No,
No.
they did reach out to me once, and I think I kind of gave them the same thing, which is
Yeah.
like we'll give you a reduced fee. I was like, so why would I pay to do
No.
work for you? Like
Pay to do work for you.
yeah, that makes no sense. Like
No.
go fuck
I
off.
know. It honestly really was. I was like I don't know. I was like really bad. I knew the email that I sent them, but I think a lot of speakers have maybe said that to them. But fine, then you're just going to get a lower caliber of speakers or
Yeah,
newer speakers, or it's going to be all your sponsors, which is like what normally happens. And it's just going to be a bunch of sales pitches, and that's
yeah,
not going to be good for your audience, and they're not going to like it. So
yeah.
you can either have the best, like the two of us, or you can just have a
Have
bunch
the
of
rest.
corporate sponsors.
Go with the best, or take the
Go with the
rest.
best, go with the rest, or get the rest, or well, let
Yeah.
me know when this goes live. I will help promote it.
Okay, will do, my friend.
And
Yeah.
I don't know when you're recording, but I'm sure you are. I will send a list of questions.
I
And
mean, you
yeah,
don't
you
have
know the
to.
drill. You're a pro.
We can literally talk about
This was
anything.
amazing.
Thank
Actually,
you.
with your Fathom note taker, can I get the transcript? Because I
Yeah,
said some things that I want to remember, but I
sure.
won't like remember them.
Yeah, I'll send it to you literally right after this meeting. I can send a
Amazing. I love an AI note taker. See, there's another good application.
yeah. You know what's not a good
Oh wait,
application?
do I have? I probably have mine in here.
Yeah, your note
Oh,
taker's
I
here.
do. Okay, so
Yeah.
my note taker's here. Then don't worry. Then I got
Okay.
everything. I got it all.
Yeah. I have to go read.
Sometimes the note taker, like other people don't accept it, and that's fine with me. But if I have if I use read.ai, I love it, and then I
Oh,
will have all the stuff I need.
I love a Fathom note taker. I've been using it for like a year.
Oh, it's
great.
like the game changing. Every
I know.
meeting, it's just like change the game, and then I can go over the transcript of meetings and stuff. I really yeah, that's my favorite use of AI for sure.
Well, and particularly for me, and I'm sure for you, I'll have pre-interviews with podcast guests, and then
Mhm.
that'll be like a month goes
Mm.
by, and then I'm like, what did we talk
Mm-hmm.
about? So
That
that's good
sometimes
for
happens with clients too.
Oh
They'll
yeah.
be like,
Yeah,
circle back in 3 months. I'm like, I don't remember
yeah.
what the hell
I
we
have no
talked
idea what you're
about, and I
saying.
don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. But this was
Yay,
great.
AI.
It's always good to
Thanks,
see you.
friend. All right.